So when I was growing up, came from Italian heritage, and so my grandfather actually immigrated from Italy, and my grandmother made spaghetti every Sunday dinner. Every Thanksgiving, I thought it was normal to have spaghetti for dinner because we had it every Thanksgiving. And it wasn't until I was like in high school when I realized that people don't have spaghetti as a side to their Thanksgiving dinner. So grandma had this recipe and she would cook for hours, like days. Her spaghetti sauce would simmer for days and it was so good. And today I decided to make spaghetti for dinner. And so I am not making her recipe because grandma decided that if she couldn't cook it for everyone, then nobody was going to cook it for anyone. So none of us have grandma's recipe for spaghetti sauce, which is so sad because it was really good, but she took it to the grave with her. So today I am making a pink spaghetti sauce that's quick and easy, really quick. In fact, when I was growing up, I remember being at my friend's house, my friend Donine, and we would be playing, and I'd say, "What are you guys having for dinner?" And she'd say, "Oh, I think we're having spaghetti." I'm like, "Oh, your mom's been cooking for like 2 days to get her spaghetti sauce?" And she was just like, "What do you mean?" Because, you know, they took out a bottle of Prego. Yeah, well, we are doing actual spaghetti sauce, quick and easy. I'm going to use Prego, but I'm going to make it a little bit more elevated than just a Prego. So we're just going to start by getting a little bit of olive oil in the pan. You want a couple tablespoons and let it heat up while you're chopping your veggies. I just like to keep it pretty simple with some onion, some pepper. I have a pepper that's starting to wilt a little bit, so we need to use it. So I am going to just chop that up using my little Pampered Chef knife. I'm not gonna lie, they're the best. The little paring knives you get from Pampered Chef. So we're gonna chop up our onion and we'll chop up the pepper. And I use this garlic just out of a jar, just the minced garlic. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love the smell of it. Several years ago I was sick and I just couldn't get better, and my neighbor was like, "Hey, let me try this concoction for you." And it was like this garlic, and I had to drink it with something else. I don't know. All I know, I had to drink the garlic juice. All I know is every time I smell it, that's kind of what it reminds me of. But used in recipes, it's really good. And so, or you can just use fresh garlic. Make sure that your fresh garlic is not bleached white, and then you actually can see growth coming from the bottom of it. If it's bleached white and kind of the bottom looks all plain and clean, it probably came from China, which means it was bleached, and there's not as much regulation over there, and so you want to make sure that your garlic is going to be fresh and pure. Okay, so now, you know what, I'm gonna cut my pepper up, and I don't like a ton of pepper, but just a little bit to give it some flavor. If I have a green pepper, I'll use a green pepper. I really like the flavor of a red. Green is good as well. So kind of just use what you have on hand, and I don't care how big it is really, because we're gonna end up taking an immersion blender to it and mix it all up anyway. So garlic, I use like a half a teaspoon. So we're just gonna dump the garlic, throw in, whoops, woo, Julia would say, whoops. I don't know if Julia would say that, but that's what I would say. Okay, so gonna let that simmer for a minute, like they say. We're gonna let it sweat out. That just sounds gross. But we're already gonna let it simmer. So, In the meantime, I'm gonna get my pasta going. I've had this pan, it's a Rachel Ray, and it is fabulous. It heats up so fast. It's so easy to cook with. It's got the little lip here so that you can drain, and it's just a fabulous pan for all my pastas. So make sure when you salt your pasta, you want it like seawater. Like you want it to be really salty, because nobody likes plain pasta. And look, I just bought good old Winco rigatoni. I grew up on rigatonis, And so anyway, we're just gonna do that. I had this at Winco because in our little town where we live, there's not a lot of grocery stores, and our Walmart, we live in a college town, and our Walmart was completely out of pasta the last few weeks. We've been completely out of pasta. So anyway, I loaded up at Winco for their pasta. So anyway, so we're gonna go around, just let this sweat out. And then I am going to add, you can make your own sauce if you just want to throw in some tomato sauce and some Italian seasonings, oregano, whatever, fresh basil. So you can do that, or I'm just gonna throw in this because it's really quick and easy. Just whatever spaghetti sauce you have on hand. We're just gonna put it in like this. And we're gonna let that simmer for a minute. Now, I love fresh basil. Okay, I love fresh basil. And so I always keep a plant just in my windowsill. And so we're gonna throw some of that in as well. And actually we're gonna plant some fresh basil here soon. And so that I don't have to even buy the plant at the store. I'm just gonna plant it myself, and we'll have fresh basil all summer long, and then I get it all winter long as well. If you end up getting extra basil, you can pull it off, freeze it, and have it all year long. So that's another tip for you. So my water is gonna boil. I'm gonna sit here and let this simmer for a minute. And then we'll come back to when we put in the, we'll mix it and then add our cream. All right, so now we're about at the point where we're gonna throw in the pasta. You want your water to be a rolling boil, like this. Because if you put pasta in water, first of all, if you put it in before you boil it at all, it has a horrible texture. So you wanna make sure you have a rolling boil. Remember, it's salty like the seawater. Pour it in. And we're just gonna give it a little stir. You know, some people say, well, you don't want your pasta to stick, so you put oil on it. But you don't wanna put oil in your water because then your sauce won't stick to it when you actually go to pour your sauce on. So you just want to stir it a little bit so it doesn't get sticky at the beginning of boiling, and then it won't stick together. So whether that's lasagna noodles or whatever noodles you're doing, that's just kind of key. But don't put oil in there because then you lose that grip for your sauce. Okay, so now we've got our sauce simmering, and we are just going to use the immersion blender. And if you don't have an immersion blender, let it cool down a little bit and just put it in a normal blender. So get that fresh basil mixed up in there, those peppers, the onions, the garlic. It smells so good. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like my grandma's, but it's really good, and it's a quick alternative to Grandma Levia's 3-day sauce in a basement. So my grandma and grandpa lived in this little tiny house. It wasn't a very big house, and they didn't have a lot of space, but they had 2 kitchens. So they had a kitchen upstairs and a kitchen downstairs. And the kitchen downstairs was special because you had the shower in the hallway. So you could take a shower while someone else was in the kitchen cooking or eating. Not the most ideal setup, but grandma loved to cook, and so she had kitchens both upstairs and down. So you needed to make sure she wasn't cooking when you needed to take a shower. Okay, so we're blending it up. We're looking good. I don't like tomato chunks. I know some people are big into tomato chunks. I don't like them in my salsa. I don't like them in my sauces. I am like, when I make homemade salsa, I just full on blend them because I am not a chunky kind of gal. So, actually I am kind of a chunky kind of gal anymore, but I do not like chunks when I eat. So, anyway, there's that. And then we're gonna add some cream. So you just take some heavy cream. You don't want a lot because we don't want to make it totally fattening, but just enough to give it a flavor, give it kind of that pink color. Use my whisk again. This is my favorite whisk. It works on non-stick pans and It's another Pampered Chef. And no, I don't sell Pampered Chef, but I have a few things from Pampered Chef that I love. So anyway, we're gonna see how it's turning pink. We've got kind of a pink sauce. You can still see some of the basil in there. Smells so good. Okay, and we're just gonna let our pasta cook, get our salad whipped up, and we'll be ready to eat. Oh, nope, I'm gonna make garlic bread. So I'm gonna show you how you can make a quick, easy, cheap, yummy garlic bread. Okay, so yesterday I bought a loaf of French bread from Walmart. It's cheap, it's $1. It's good. We had it for our dinner last night. I cut some up this morning and made homemade French toast for my kids this morning, and we still have a little bit left. So with the remainder, because we're all watching our pennies now with inflation getting so high, that we've got to use everything we have. So I like to make just some homemade garlic bread. So I've just melted some butter. I made this last year. We had a big family reunion with our extended family, and I just whipped it up with some lasagna that we had, and everyone was like, what is that garlic bread? And I'm like, I've been making this forever. So you just kind of coat it on. So I'm actually using garlic powder because I feel like garlic salt with the butter can get a little bit salty, and the Parmesan cheese. So I just sprinkle on some garlic powder and put on my Parmesan. If you have fresh Parmesan, that's great too. I'm just using what I have. I don't want to go buy more ingredients because you go for one little thing and then the next thing you know, you're, $50 in for one little item. So just use what you have. A little bit of parsley, throw it on my pan, and then I'll put it in the oven on broil, and it'll come out brown and buttery and rich and crispy. It's so good. So anyway, then my bread doesn't go to waste. Another day we're going to talk about how to make croutons with your French bread that's maybe been in the pantry a little bit long, how to cut that up and make the best croutons for your salads. So for years I've used just parchment paper when I do cookies or anything on my pans. I don't ever cook anything on my pans. It's harder to clean, all of that. And last year I decided, man, I was going through a lot of parchment paper. I bake a lot, I use my pans a lot, and so I found these. They're not the real Silpat pans or liners, but I got these at Costco, and they were a great deal. I bought a couple of sets so I can make a big batch of cookies and use them. So anyway, that's just what I throw mine on. They're easy to wash off. If you get a little cheese or something on it, they're the best. Anyway, let's come over here and check our pasta. Our pasta is boiling. You want to make sure when you boil pasta that you leave the lid off. You do not want to put your lid on. So I like mine al dente. My family doesn't necessarily, but I love that little bit of like crunch to my pasta. Not crunchy. I just don't like it mushy. I do not like mushy pasta. So we're going to make it al dente. It's about there. Needs another minute or so. I don't time my pasta, I taste my pasta. But if you want to time your pasta, the instructions are always on the back. I would recommend not mixing pastas because all the different shapes and sizes make them cook differently, and so it makes it hard to cook them evenly. So unless you really are just in a pinch and you have empty bags of different random pastas, make sure you time it out. Look on the back, figure out how much time each pasta needs, then throw it in, and you can make it work. But I don't necessarily recommend that unless you have to. But again, let's not throw out our food. Let's use what we have. So we're gonna let that go another minute. We'll drain it. We'll get our yummy sauce on. We'll get our salad, our garlic bread, and dinner will be ready. Okay, so tonight we're just, with our pasta, we're gonna have a quick little salad, a green salad. And I have some wingers dressing, or some winger sauce that I'm about out of. So it's not quite enough for my to put on chicken or anything. So I'm gonna make like the wingers salad dressing with it. It's basically just a ranch dressing. So you take your mayo, you can do light mayo if you want, half a cup. We don't have a ton of people in our house anymore. They're starting to leave, and so we won't go through that much salad dressing that quickly. So I'm just doing like a small batch, half a cup of mayo, half a cup of milk. And then I use this ranch seasoning. You can get it at Costco or Costco or Sam's Club, or you can just get it like at Walmart. Anyway, and it calls for 1.5 tablespoons. So just toss that in. So it kind of amps up your ranch dressing and gives you like a little bit better flavor, I think. Ranch can get boring because it seems like you just have ranch a lot. And this winger sauce also thickens it up. So I'm gonna take my winger sauce. I don't even measure. I just kind of wait till it's pink. So I think the theme for tonight is pink sauce. We have pink salad dressing. We have pink pasta. Okay. And I'm gonna just kind of finish up that bottle of winger sauce. Again, I got this at Costco, but they only sell it like this time of year. So barbecue season, you can't find it after about August. So from now until August, just stock up because it lasts for about a year in your storage. And it's great for chicken nuggets. It's great for your salad dressings. It's just an overall wonderful sauce to have on hand. So anyway, there's my salad dressing. I'm gonna put it in the fridge and we'll chill it before dinner. Okay, so my bread's out of the oven. Look, it's crispy brown, it's crunchy. Oh, it's so good. Watch it closely though. I can't even tell you how many garlic breads I've burned in my life. So you wanna make sure that you watch the oven very closely so that your bread does not burn, because my kids can tell you I have burned many loaves of garlic bread. Anyway, there you go. There's our dinner. We've got our lovely French bread, our pasta with our pink sauce, our salad with our pink sauce. So it's our nice, this would be a fun like Valentine's Day dinner or whatever. It's just really good, but it's our pink dinner.